Welcome back to the trailer build, guys. This is part 2 of the series. In part 1, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, but we talked about the trailer, we reviewed it, we looked at it, I asked y'all for y'all's opinion, and y'all said y'all wanted to see us, break this thing down and turn it into the ultimate do-it-yourself Overland setup. So in this video, we're going to be stripping it down and making it a brand new trailer. Okay, so one thing I'm definitely going to do is take off these doors because, like I said in the previous video, it's got a big hole in it. The wood inside of these doors is rotten completely, and my buddies are going to help me with this build. I'm just kind of starting off the project solo tonight. So I got the floor ripped out and the doors torn off. It was super easy, and the main thing is getting the mildew off of this old trailer because it's been sitting there for many years. All right, so we cleaned up the trailer. It looks pretty good. It actually removed all the mildew. We still have a little bit of paint residue on there, but we're gonna hopefully end up wrapping this thing or painting it, but I'm impressed with how it turned out on the pressure washing. So now we're gonna install some new trailer lights and like the wiring harness and all that. And we'll start to kind of talk about the inside and what we're gonna do to it. So yeah, let's back it into the shop and see what we can do. Before we worked on the tail lights, we decided to get a grinding wheel and a torch and try to remove all the old paint and rust on the tongue because it was very ugly and definitely needed to be repainted. So we got that out of the way. So what we're doing for the brake lights, and because we're gonna run all new wire, and we got one brake light mounted, as you can see, is we're going to use this metal conduit and put it in between. You can see they pre-drilled these studs out to put a wire through, but it was just a rubber wire dangling. And if we take this thing, off-road, that's not gonna really hold up. It might get pulled by, some brush or whatever. So we want to take this, put it in between these gaps, and then when we put the floor in, we'll, use these. We'll use these to, suck it up, hold it tight up against the floor. All right, so the tail lights are going on, getting everything wired up. I'll show y'all a brief overview of how we use this conduit because it's a lot stronger, and we'll fasten it on with those straps. It won't be dangling like this. Okay, so now we are trying to make some back doors, and we got this roll of aluminum, which is white on one side and gray on the bottom. That won't be the exposed side. It looks like this. We cut it to fit our doors perfectly because the old plywood doors are rotted out. I'll insert a video of those, showing those. And we're trying to custom fab some new doors to where we don't have to buy any because they're super expensive. And this is our solution. We put contact cement on both the plywood and the back side of the thing. I'm gonna try to video us, laying this thing down, but this contact cement is, you can't mess up. When it sticks, it sticks. I'll show you what I mean. Try to set up the camera and show y'all us laying the aluminum to the wood. Okay, so let me also note that after we lay this down, we're gonna put some rubber seals around the outside edges and paint them as well to where the water can't really penetrate into the wood, and try to use the same piano hinges and what would you call that, like latch system that was already on the trailer. We're gonna take it off the old doors and put it on this one. So we're kind of just retrofitting, trying to replicate the old doors and not really come up with any grand new design. So we're gonna lay this on there right now. It's gonna be better than getting off a little. Take that down. Perfect. Well, the wood might not be cut perfect either. Alrighty, we jumped off a hair. Got a little bit of overhang on this side, but about as good as we can do. That's no big deal. The weather sealing will cover that up. Here, I'll show you. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So you can see we got off a hair, but I mean, that's like maybe 1/8 of an inch. And yeah, could be because the wood wasn't cut completely straight or square, whatever you want to say. And we're gonna put some weather seal that, you know, it's kind of like a C-channel that covers it and, you know, gives it a nice seal. So we got the second door done, and I ordered all the weather strips and hardware and all that stuff that we're gonna need for the doors. But for now, we're gonna jump over to me mounting the tires on this thing, the gigantic tires. And I tried to use the old axle, and I'm gonna show you that and show you why I ultimately ordered a new axle for the trailer. I was gonna buy a new axle for this trailer, still might do it in the future, just depending on how this axle does. I'm going to repack the bearings, just not today, because I want to see if these things fit. I know they're going to fit. Well, I hope so. I'm 95% sure, with the help of these. So this is a wheel spacer. You know, you can run them on your trucks. I bought them for this Tacoma and never put them on there. Here, let me move this leaky air hose on this impact that I'm going to use. Let's move that over there, where y'all can hear me a little better. Okay, so this axle is actually a bolt-in hub axle. So these are not lug nuts. These are bolts that go straight into the hub. So I was like, that's gonna be weird. You know, I don't really like that. All right, so old tire off. There we go. I think I needed a new tire, guys. Look at this. I think it was about time for a new tire. See that? Yeah, that wasn't gonna last very long. Let's roll that one to the side. I almost dropped it on my tripod. Roll that one over there. Get framed back up. All right, so what we're gonna do here is these bolts that go into the hub are now gonna go through here and back into the hub, like so. Got plenty of threads. Now we're gonna put the tire on there. Here's the moment of truth. All right, I'm gonna have to raise it up a little bit. I wish it had this much clearance, but it doesn't. If I were to put a straight axle under here, I'd have a lot more clearance, and that would make me feel a lot better when we went off-road and we were, you know, really maxing out these leaf springs going over terrain. This would be a nice clearance if I was like this. But obviously it's not up on the lugs yet. So let's lift her up there. She's a heavy tire. Oh. All right, she fits. She fits pretty nicely, actually. I got about 2.5, maybe 3 inches up there, probably 3 inches. So with only a few inches of clearance and old bearings and whatnot, I decided to purchase a new axle and yeah, put that on later. I had to go run and get it, but for the time being, I went and bought some wood and decided to start working on the floor. I bought some wood to put in as the flooring in the trailer. I bought some nice plywood. I'm going to either paint the bottom with like a bed liner material, or I'm going to put that roll of metal on the bottom of it before I put it in. But we gotta cut everything to where it'll fit in there. In the front of the trailer, it's got some curves. You'll see some arches up there that I'm gonna have to, you know, cut out. It's not that intricate of a job, but I want to make sure it fits nicely. So let's get everything going. She fits. Nice, seamless, smooth outside edge. And I mean, it lines up pretty daggone good. It's a little bit long, but oh well. That's not gonna bother me. If anything, it's better to be a little long to get some more overlap on that tongue down there. So we're gonna just, I got this stuff laying in here right now. I'm not gonna screw it in yet because I still want to take it all out and paint it. Definitely the bottom side, and put a nice weather seal, you know, on the plywood. So I got the bottom of the floors painted. That's gonna be the undercarriage side. Wet paint still, but I'm gonna go to Home Depot and actually get some like actual like bed liner or undercoat liner and I'm gonna put it on there real thick. Make sure and get all the edges, you know. And yeah, I'm probably gonna go with the light color just to make, I'm gonna paint it on both sides, the top and the bottom, make the interior of the trailer look nice and bright. Because you don't want black, it makes a small space look smaller. All right, so the floor's in. You can see it right here. It's a nice textured material. I got a love bug, and that's a fly. He's probably stuck to the paint when it was drying. I'll get him off later. It's still a little soft, but I put it in there. Alrighty, so here's the new axle. It's a 3,500 pound axle, and I'm gonna attempt to put it and some new leaf springs on the trailer. So it's got a few places where the paint's not really covered that great. So I'm gonna touch it up with some like Rust-Oleum spray paint, some rust inhibitor or whatever it's called. And before I put it on there, I just wanna get all these spots where it's been dinged, I guess in shipping or something, but yeah, we're gonna get it put on. So while that paint dried, I went ahead and put the shackles, new leaf springs, you know, new bolts, the whole 9 yards into this trailer, to where all my moving parts on this trailer are brand new. So it'll, you know, make me feel a lot better while we hit the road and put this thing to the test. Look at that. I got the axles mounted. It was quite difficult because of the spring centers. Those were like 57 3/4 or like maybe 5/8, and this was 58. So, you know, we had a little bit of, you know, pretty much my brackets needed to be a hair wider. So I put some spacers in, or some, not spacers, some washers in there to kind of bump it out in the back. And yeah, it's in there, but it wasn't an absolute perfect fit, but pretty much perfect for, you know, replacing a whole new axle on the existing mounting tabs. You know, you're never gonna get things exactly perfect like that. This is an old U-Haul trailer, and supposedly they make everything custom and not like really standard sizes. So it works, and we're about to get the rims mounted on here, so this is the fun part. Even with the new axle, I had to use the wheel spacers, you know, to get enough clearance for these 11.5, you know, 33-inch tires to fit. So typically when I see people put truck rims on trailers, they cannot mount their center cap, you know, the little center cap there with the Toyota emblem on it, because the trailer axle, you know, and the bearings and all that stick out too far. But luckily with these wheel spacers, it gives me enough clearance to still use the stock cap, which looks very clean. Well, the new axle gives it a big lift. I mean, that's a ton of more, that's a lot more space. I feel more comfortable with that. And the tires fit on there easily with the new axle. So the bad part is, well, it's not a bad part. I'm just gonna have to get a straight hitch instead of my 4-inch drop, which is better because I need this ground clearance anyways for off-roading. So it'll bump the tongue up to where I have a level ride. All right, guys, so I've been driving the trailer around, pulling it around, and it feels amazing. It tracks pretty well. It's not, you know, too bouncy. I don't know if it's the big tires or what, but man, it just has a good ride height. It's about the same as my truck, and man, I'm loving it. So this is gonna conclude part 2 of the series, and next we're gonna work on the inside in part 3. So I don't know, guys, comment below what all I should put in this big spacious area. Just kidding, it's pretty small. So don't go crazy in the comments, like put a swimming pool in there. I don't have really much room for a swimming pool, but you know, let me know what you think would be necessary, and pretty cool to put inside of that thing. But for now, we're about to head to Home Depot, and I'm gonna start part 3. So this is the end of part 2. Make sure and subscribe to the channel and follow along, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.